Let's talk about this more, about how the president intends to use these cabinet members, and what about the infrastructure plan, and how will this bode for the American people and the revitalization of our economy? I'm joined now by Kip Eidberg, who is a Senior VP of Association of Equipment Manufacturers. He joined AEM as its Vice President of Public Affairs and Advocacy in 2016 and served as the interim lead of the head of the association's Washington, D.C. office, and was promoted to Senior Vice President of Government and Industry Relations and head of the association's branch in 2019. He joins us now and tweets at Kip Eidberg. Welcome to the show, Kip. How are you?
Hey, thanks for having me on, Laura. I'm great. It's a good time to talk about infrastructure.
I'm glad that you're here, and I'm glad for your energy. Thank you, because you have a lot of energy for infrastructure, and I'm very happy about it. People need to get on board and think about why this is so important to our economy. So tell me first of all, what are your first impressions about the Biden infrastructure plan? Some people say, well, the right's not happy, the left's not happy, the middle's not entirely happy, but does that mean it might be a politically good thing if no one's quite satisfied? What do you think?
I think you're right, Laura. So let me start off by saying that our industry, the equipment manufacturing industry, and the 2.8 million men and women of our industry, we applaud President Biden for unveiling this plan a couple of days ago in Pittsburgh that calls for a transformational investment in our nation's infrastructure. We believe it will help grow our businesses, create more family-sustaining jobs, improve our quality of life, and protect our environment for generations to come. So there's much to like in this plan, Laura.
So in terms of your business, Association of Equipment Manufacturers, why is this important for your industry, and how does it transfer for others as well?
Well, I think it's a great question. I think it is not only essential to our industry, but to the business community and to the economy overall. A significant investment in our nation's infrastructure is, first of all, essential to economic growth. And it's even more important now to ensure a rapid economic recovery as we start to come out of the COVID-19 pandemic. From our perspective, obviously, infrastructure is important, that it will help create more jobs for our member companies, the 2.8 million men and women who build the equipment that make infrastructure possible. But, it's also going to make us more competitive in the global economy. We all depend on infrastructure. You and I, as we go to work, or at least we used to, as we sit at home, homeschool our kids, make use of telehealth services. Obviously, our members depend on it to get parts and components into manufacturing facilities and then finished products out to the rest of the world. So we cannot do without infrastructure. We've let it languish for too long. We haven't put the money into it that it needs. And so we are excited and we're optimistic that finally we'll be able to put some money back into it and rebuild our economy.
So tell me a little bit about, because one of the things that obviously the White House is talking about it being able to be fully paid over 15 years. There's concerns about using the tax code to do this. How does the tax code impact your business and your sector? I mean, one of the things I know you want to happen is that you want to be able to preserve the predictability and stability in the tax code that keeps you competitive. How does that work for you?
Well, I think agreeing on a long-term and sustainable funding mechanism that ensures, as you mentioned, the competitiveness not only of our industry but of the U.S. economy will require compromise, Laura. And we are, as an industry, committed to engaging constructively with all stakeholders to reach consensus. At the same time, and we've been very open with this in conversations with the White House, and as you mentioned, it's important that we preserve predictability and stability in the tax code. So there is a fine line here that we need to sort of figure out a way to follow. Yes, we do need to put real money into infrastructure, and it has to be paid for somehow. I think from our industry's perspective, we're willing to compromise. There's room here to come up with something that spreads the burden out across the economy. Maybe there's a little bit of deficit funding, maybe there's a little bit of revenue raising, maybe there's a little bit of user fees, and I think the details will be worked out over the next weeks and months. I don't think it can be just one funding stream, and it also has to be sustainable. You mentioned 15 years. We cannot just pass a bill that funds infrastructure for 3 or 4 years, because then we're going to have the same problem all over again. So it's got to be long-term, it's got to be sustainable, it has to work for everyone.
And what about job creation? I mean, what can be done? Talking about in terms of equipment manufacturers, what are the hurdles that have been in place so far that this new infrastructure plan will help to alleviate?
Well, what we are pleased to see when you look at the plan that the president unveiled is that it's focusing on a lot of things. Yes, it focuses on fixing roads and bridges, delivering clean drinking water, high-speed broadband to all Americans, revitalizing manufacturing and securing supply chains, but it also has strong components of partnerships with different sectors, focusing on workforce development. And that's where that comes in when it comes to our industry. We're creating more jobs right now, Laura, than we know how to fill. There just aren't enough skilled workers out there. And so we believe that a key component of this program will put some money into those technical schools, those career schools, into education for young people who are looking for career in manufacturing. That will create more skilled workers, will allow us to fill those jobs that we're going to create as a result of this infrastructure package, and that overall will help jumpstart the economy. At least that's our hope.
So what's missing from this? What is, if you had the cherry on top, or the thing that, I know everything takes compromise, and oftentimes people, the opposite of something is not nothing, but what would you like to see as part of this? Is there anything that you think really would have been able to guarantee some of the progress you need?
I think it's not so much what's missing from the package, or I think what's missing in Washington, and this is really basic. We need to get back to a common sense, solutions-oriented approach to governing. It needs to be all about policies and process, not politics and personalities. Our elected officials in Washington, they need to reach across the aisle. They need to work in a bipartisan fashion to advance not only this infrastructure package, but any policies that will create more family-sustaining jobs for Americans and grow the middle class. So we are urging Republicans and Democrats in both chambers. We are urging the White House to, work together, because if they do, if they get this done, it's going to be a game changer, not just for our industry, but for the economy. But it's got to be done in a bipartisan manner.
So tell me, just so everyone's clear, I know that you represent the Association of Equipment Manufacturers. You're talking about all the different jobs that are available. What does the industry look like in terms of what is available and what training would be able to secure for people in terms of the types of work that they could get?
Yeah, so that's a great question, Laura. We talk a lot about this. Look, manufacturing has changed dramatically over the past decade. This is no longer the manufacturing industry of 50 years ago or even 25 years ago. Today's industry, our industry, is a highly technical, advanced industry. We're looking for people who are, familiar with autonomous vehicles, with machine learning, with artificial intelligence, young men and women who want to have a career in technology as much as manufacturing. And those skills right now are not out there. They're certainly not out there in the degree that we need them to be. And so, and I should say, just a little plug here for our industry, we pay 35% above the national average. That's the average salaries. We believe that a career in equipment manufacturing is a pathway to the middle class, great jobs, interesting jobs, high-tech jobs. And so we just need, and part of that is on us. We got to educate more young people about our industry and the career opportunities, but we also need, our partners in government and in education to help make sure that they train them for the jobs that are available.
Kip Eidelberg, thank you for your time. I appreciate helping us understand a little bit more about the impact of the Biden infrastructure bill. Thank you so much.
Great being with you, Laura. Thank you.